Hey, good morning, and welcome back to another day. Yesterday, we started to talk about parallel lines and transversals and the different relationships. Okay, so we identified the different types of angles. Now, today, we're going to apply these angles, and we're going to go from there and kind of say, what does it mean? So, as we take these notes, there's kind of a lot of words on the screen. You don't need to take that all down. However, I would recommend, like on this first one, go ahead in your notes, write the name, so corresponding angles, and then also draw the picture over here. Okay? And if we have corresponding angles, so right here, 1 and 2, remember, compared to the intersection, they're both up to the right. And notice it says in here that they are congruent. Okay, so make sure you write corresponding angles, draw a picture, and then you should say like angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. And this will always be the case. Okay? And we'll prove a little bit more why tomorrow, but for now, we're just going to know that angle 1 and angle 2 would have to be the same. Okay, now another type of angle, the alternate interior angles. Remember, they're on the inside and they're on separate sides. So angle 3 and 4 there, they are also going to be congruent. And if I'm going too fast, feel free to pause it, get caught up. Okay, this next one, consecutive interior angles there. Now, the first thing I want us to do is remember another name for consecutive would be same side. So consecutive interior or same side interior. And that means they're on the same side of the transversal. They're on the inside, 5 and 6. And I forgot to mention, for these rules, it is only the case if the two lines are parallel and it's a transversal. If it's just two random lines cut by a transversal, then these will not be the case. But if they're parallel cut by the transversal, then our corresponding angles are congruent, our alternate interior angles are congruent, our same side interior or consecutive interior angles not congruent, but supplementary, which hopefully you guys remember tells us angle 5 plus angle 6 would add up to 180. All right. And one final type, alternate exterior angles. Two parallel lines cut by transversal in this way, they are going to be congruent. So they're on the outside. Angle 7 and 8 are congruent. Now keep in mind, there's also the case of if we have like these two blue dots, those are vertical angles, which we know are congruent. And then you also have like those two red dots are a linear pair. And remember, those are supplementary, add up to 180. So those are some other things. Final piece of information here says if a transversal is perpendicular to one of the two parallel lines, it's perpendicular to the other. So this is just something to think about, but basically if there's a 90-degree angle there, we also know there's a 90-degree angle there. So now we're going to apply this. So take a look here. We're going to fill in some information. It says, given that the measure of angle 5 is 65 degrees. Okay, so we know right here, this angle is 65 degrees. So now, it says find angle 6 and tell why we know. So angle 6, right across the x, it's also going to be 65 degrees. And the reason I know that is because they are vertical angles. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and fill that in, 65 degrees. Now angle 7, right here. There's two ways we could find this. Either way, we're going to take 180 minus that 65, and we will get 115. It's 115 degrees. We know that because it is a linear pair with both angle 6 and with angle 5. So that means a linear pair, they add up to 180. Okay, so let me fill that in, 115. Okay, now we got angle 8 and angle 9 still to find. So angle 8 over here, that will also be 65 degrees. And there would be two ways you could have found that. One would be it is an alternate exterior angle with angle 6. Okay, the other would be that it is corresponding here with angle 5. Okay? And alternate exterior angles and corresponding angles are always congruent. So then the final one here, angle 9, once again, right here, two ways you can find that. We know it's going to be 115. You could either say that it is because it is a linear pair with angle 8, or it's alternate exterior with angle 7, which means it's the same. So let's go ahead now, and we have to solve a problem here. It says solve for the value of x. So first thing I want us to do is identify what is the relationship between those two angles. So those two angles here are what we call corresponding angles. So if they're corresponding, if you don't remember, check your notes, but that means they are congruent. So if they are congruent, all I have to do is 3x plus 9 is going to equal 129. We know they're equal. We distribute that in. 3x plus 27 equals 129. We subtract, we get 3x would equal 102. And then at this point, all we have to do is divide, and we are going to get x equals 34. If you want to double check if it works, plug it in right there, and we know when we get our answer, it should be 129. All right, this next one right here, they're on alternate sides and they're on the interior. So that's alternate interior, which means they also are going to be equal to each other. So 2x minus 10 equals 80. We add that 10 over, we get 2x equals 90, and we will get x equals 45. And notice here, the way they told us they were parallel, these arrows on there, that tells us this line and this line are parallel. On the first one, this line and this line were parallel. Then on this one, we know this one and this line are parallel. Now for this, they're once again on the inside, so interior. However, they are on the same side. So either same side interior, or you can say consecutive interior. And those two angles will add up to 180. They are supplementary. So we subtract that, we get 3x equals 60. And then I get x equals 20. Now, a second way. Sometimes instead of putting those arrows on there, they're going to put this symbol. W is parallel to V. So that tells us that this angle is parallel, or that line, is parallel to that line. So these two angles, this time it is alternate exterior, which once again means they are going to be equal. So 3x plus 60 equals 120, equal or congruent. Subtract that 60 over, we get 3x equals 60, and x once again equals 20. Okay, now, a couple things on letter E. First off, the picture doesn't look perfect, but W is parallel to V. I know it doesn't quite look, I think I'm off a tiny bit on one of these, but we're going to assume that these are parallel. We can't go based on the picture, we got to go based on what it tells us. Now, there's no relationship here, okay? But let me highlight in red. We do know a relationship between this angle and this angle right here. The two I made in red, those are known as alternate exterior angles. And alternate exterior angles are equal, which means I can put that 15x minus 12. I can plug that in right there. Now, let me use green to show you these two angles we know are a linear pair. And if they're a linear pair, that means they are going to add up to 180. So now we can do 7x plus 38 plus 15x minus 12 equals 180. And we're going to combine our like terms. We get 22x plus 26 equals 180. Subtract the 26 and we get 22x equals 154. At this point we divide and we will get x equals 7. Okay, so on that one, we had to do a little work first. We had to find the alternate interior or exterior angle, and then we could set up the linear pair. Sometimes you might have to do that. So go ahead and try today's assignment. It is in Delta Math, so you're going to have to sign back in. I know it's been a minute since we've used that, so if you need help getting in, please send me an email, and I will see you tomorrow.